At this point, it's time to start exporting our textures out of Painter so we can bring them into Maya and render with Arnold. And the way you do that is you come up to the top, go to File, Export Textures. And you can see there's several different dialog boxes happening in here. First one is, where do you want it to send to? So this would be your project. The next one is going to be your format. So a ping at 16 bits works pretty good. If you want to change that, you're more than welcome to do that. Just make sure it renders with Arnold, and JPEG will do that. Bitmap, I think Targa, OpenEXL, a bunch of others, but Ping does pretty good and allows us to get a little bit better quality with 16 bits. The next one is the config tab, and this is just a drop-down menu with lots of predetermined configurations that you can export the textures. So by default, it goes to additional maps. If you go to texture sets, it generates maps, but it's not the type that we will need inside of Arnold. So we have to pick the Arnold configuration. And there's two. There's going to be the Arnold tab and then the Arnold UDIM, which is the multi-tiling. So if you used basic shaders to set up your object, this is probably the one you want to use. Again, this just has the object name and the shader name and then what kind of map it is. So you want a diffuse, specular, roughness, F0, which will be your metal map, normal, height. Again, for this time around, height we won't be using information from that channel. And then emissive if you got some glowing lights or anything. And then again, on your other texture set, you'll do another export of the same maps. If you used multi-tiling or UDIM tiling, you want to use the Arnold UDIM configuration. You can see what that does is it doesn't change anything too much. It just changes the number to be at the end, which is really important for Maya to read those maps and know how to connect this diffuse 01 to 02 and so forth with all the other maps with the number at the end. So if you're to use that, that's what you want to use. If you use multi-tiling, you want to use that. And again, Arnold, if you just set up regular shaders. So it depends on which one you want. For me, I'm going to use the UDIM. That looks good. Find where you want to send it to. You probably make a new folder because it will generate a lot of maps. So Maya, select it, and we'll just hit export. And this will probably take a few minutes, so I'll pause. Now we're back, and here are all the maps that got generated. So there's my 2 diffuse, my emissive, my F0 or metallic map. This is our height, which we will not be using because we're not doing any displaced maps or anything like that, and that's where the height would come in. Here's our normal maps. Here's our roughness maps, and here's our specular maps. So if we got all those, we're ready to take this back into Maya to render out. So let's do that. Here we are back in Maya. We're going to set up a few things before we load the textures into Maya. First is we want to set up a Arnold standard shader onto our low poly object, or whatever object you want to put your mask onto. That's all UV'd. Alright, so what we're going to do is select it, right click, and then say assign new material. Comes up with a new material box. Make sure you go to Arnold shader, and we're going to use the AI standard shader. That looks good. Want to make sure at the top we turn off textures for now. So this little box right here, or again, that could be one of the number 5 key on your keyboard. All right, now let's load in some lighting into this. First, we want to probably bring in kind of a IBL lighting, so image-based lighting is what we want to use, and we want to go up to the Arnold tab up here at the top, go to Lights, and hit Sky Dome Light. And that just kind of brings in this white default lighting into the scene. And we want to go over to the attributes for that and go to Color, Options box, and we're going to load in a file. And once that gets loaded, filter type, I'm going to set that to off. And then image name, go to the end there, hit the little input folder. And I've already gone and I've already found a texture that works pretty good. I have this bus scene. If you need to find any other textures or IBLs that you want to use, you can use the ones from Painter or the ones that come shipped with Maya. And where do you find those? So let's bring up that menu box. All right, right in here in the under the C drive, you can go to Program Files. In here, it's going to be algorithmic. Click on that and go to Substance Painter 2. In there, you got Resources, and then you go to Shelf, algorithmic, and then Environments right there. And then right here, you've got Exterior, 8 IBLs, Interior IBLs, which where I got my bus garage from, and Studio setups. So those where you can find them. And normally what I do is I usually take one of these, save it, and put it in my source images in my project directory, so it's always with me. I don't have to rely on the system having the HDR on the C drive and inside the program. It's always going to be connected with me if I put this image with the project. So it's just good working behavior. The other place you can go, so let's go back to Program Files and go to Autodesk, go to Maya 2017, go to Presets, go to Assets, and IBL. And there's a bunch in here that gets shipped with Maya for you to use. So 2 places where you can get some, or you can find them off the internet. All right. So I'm going to bring in the bus garage for me. I'm going to load it. There it is. And then I'm going to kind of zoom back out, and I'm going to try to look around the image and figure out where the main light source is coming from. It looks like it's coming from behind this red bus right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in another light. So I'm going to go to Create, Lights, and I'm going to drop in a directional light. And move it outside. I'm going to scale it so I can actually see it. There it is. And then I'm going to hit the T key, and that's going to give me an aim for that light. So I'm going to separate that out. So pressing that T key gives me an aim for the light. So wherever I move this, the directional light will follow. And if I put it straight in the middle of my object, that should work pretty good. And then now I'm going to take this directional light, kind of point it in the direction where the main light source is coming from. So it just gives it a little bit extra power. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to exposure, and I'm going to kind of crank that up to about 1. I'm also going to turn on the color temperature and increase that just a little bit. There we go. So now I'm just adding a little bit more light to the HDR image. So if you want to kind of see how this is looking, I'm going to go up to the top, go to Arnold Render View, and pop it off to the side here. Here it is, and let's just run the IPR. And there he is. Now we've got it all basic lighting set up. As you can see, there's a little bit of yellow on one side and a little bit of blue on the other. Looking pretty good. All right. Let's change some render parameters. So we're going to go to render settings at the top. Come over here. And we're going to go to the common tab. We're going to render this out pure square. So go to presets and we're going to do a 2K square render. Well, for now, we'll probably, when I do my final render, I'll probably leave it at 2K, but for speed purposes, you might want to drop it to 1K for now, when you can get quicker updates and all that. But when you do your final render, you might want to crank this up, and I recommend doing a 2K for this. There you are. So 1K is going to do good for our purposes. And let's see if we can get this to frame up a little bit better on the screen. Another way of getting this to get a better idea of what's getting rendered in your Maya scene is coming up to the top of the viewport. There's this one icon called resolution gauge. It should be right between show and renderer. Click on that, and that gives you kind of this border about what you're rendering. So it makes it a lot easier. Oop. There we go. And there you are. So now you have a better idea of what of your Maya scenes getting rendered without really looking at the renderer itself. All right, that looks pretty good. Eventually, you might want to increase the shadow quality of your light, all that kind of stuff. But for right now, just to test some stuff out, this should be fast enough for us now. All right, so let's load in some textures.